Welcome everyone. We're glad you're here. And I don't know how you feel, but I felt the last days in incredible peace. Like it's not been easy and like many things happened, but finding the center is what it is all about, right? In your center, you find yourself, you find everyone else as well, and your heart is allowed to be open. And you allow yourself to be open, you allow your heart to be open and to receive. So let's connect to our breath. Let's take a deep inhale through the nose, out through the mouth. Exhale, exhale, exhale. Deep inhale. And slowly exhale. Feel your body sinking down. Relax your muscles. Relax your head, your ears, your nose. Relax your mouth, your neck, your shoulders, your upper body, your arms, hands, lower body, the hips, the legs relaxing. Everything relaxes more and more down to the knees, the calves, and the feet, grounding down into the earth. Taking another inhale, inhaling down, or the energy from down below up from the earth. Inhale deeply through the nose. Inhale the energy from Mama Gaia. Feel her strength, her power. Know it's within you. And keep listening and applying the knowledge that Roger is giving you now. So enjoy.
Thank you so much, and we're ready to begin. We have the entire day planned for you, and we've waited for you your entire lives. Now, we say that to you every time you show up, but we're going to say it again because you'll hear this later. Whoever will hear this later, it will still be the same thing. We have given you everything that you need to know to live this magnificent life and to make the contribution that you intended to make on your life journey, and you meant to do it now. Now, we gave you several messages, and we were going to have those show up in the video replay that we will give you, but we'll tell you what we gave you. So on this day, because we like to use synchronicity so you understand that you're always evolving. You are always evolving. You came into the physical plane to form that purpose. And this is when you become abundant, is when you accept who you are. And that is the process of evolving. And so what we gave you on this day, the title was A More Perfect Union. And we were using that very cleverly because we were talking about the changes that you've all felt in your lives and in your world. And we wanted to tell you why you're so important to be in the world now. And we're so grateful that you decided to do that because it means that you have something within you that was meant to come forth now to help this transition in your world, which we have called a restructuring. And so on this date, we said a more perfect union. And what that meant was we were speaking of, yes, this day, it's Labor Day that the United States is celebrating, and that's for a very good reason. But when we say a more perfect union, that's where you're trying to move. But that perfect union is happening within you, what you came to bring to the world. That's what each of you have. Now, we've been really busy this week because we had our messenger do several things. We had him create so many different videos to give you this information because we wanted to explain the science of it all. Because you'll be looking at your world today and your lives, and you'll think something has gone wrong, and we're saying that never happens. And when you're seeing all the world events that are happening now, it's energy, and that energy is repressed. It has been that way for a long time, which we said that's why you needed a rebalancing so that you could restructure yourselves and restructure your world. Then we gave you something else we want you to understand, and these will all be on the video replay because we want you to have this because as you watch it, it will make so much more sense to you, just as the string of messages we gave you the other day, where we said you could not have known your importance importance. And that is because it's always evolving. But who you are is this very valuable person because of what you have lived and what you will live in the future, because you have a divine plan. And it's always showing up. You just don't understand it all the time. Our messenger did not know that his life was going to lead him to bringing in a transformational philosophy for your world to uplift humankind, but that's exactly what we've done, and we've shown the results of that through his life. You each do that through your lives. You're meant to leave something that will say you lived and you made a mark. We've just given you a guide, which we have called your Ascension Guide. Now, then on January 11th of 2012, we're going to give you a few messages that you will see. We said your story. We gave you that message because many of you do not understand the importance of everything that you've lived, every experience, every person you've met, everything that you have done has value in it because you've learned something. We say that you're eternal spiritual beings. We know many of you find that concept a little challenging, but that is what we have brought to you. But then we said you have everything that you need and it's within you. But in this incarnation, this lifetime, you're here to manifest something new, and that is within you, but you're also going to be manifesting a new world. That's why it looks the way that it does now, because many of you don't like to let go. But on January 1st of 2012, we gave you another message that said infinite intelligence. You all have it because it always exists. Intelligence doesn't go anywhere. It just gets built upon. And you're each here to do that in your own way. And that is what we have been guiding you to, because we just wanted you to love yourself. Because when you decide to love yourself, that's when you have the abundance. It starts to show up. Now, we're talking about it in many different ways, however. Many of you might think that it's just about money, but that's not all of it. Some of you have used that. Our messenger has used money to hold himself back, which many of you have done that. And so this is why we wanted you to accept more of who you are now, because that would be the energy of love that you're putting into yourselves and then into the world. There's not a single soul born that does not have an important purpose that's meant to be manifest and come into the world now. You just make different decisions about that because of what you've been taught. You've been taught things that have been limiting, and this is why your world needed to change now, and this is why we gave you a philosophy that would have you do that. And again, we've said this before, but we want you to hear it again. We've given you everything you need to know to live this magnificent life and create a great world, but you just have difficulty believing it. And so we have given you all the messages. It's been over years. This didn't happen overnight. And so we're going to give you some other dates that we want you to look at your own. But if you go back to February 19th of this year of 2024 on Any Advice for Today and read the messages, we gave you a whole slew of them, many of them, because we wanted you to see how you will develop in your consciousness individually over linear time. You do that individually and then you do it collectively, because you're all creating the world. There's no one that has any more ability or power than another. You just make different choices about that depending on what you are living. But we will say this, because you're here, you're existing on your planet at a momentous time. You may have thought things were going crazy. We're saying no. You pick the best time to be alive, because if you decide that you're going to move into each day accepting more of who you can become, you will just heal things. You'll move through generational trauma. You will live this great abundant life. You'll have wonderful relationship. You'll have all of that, and you'll heal. And we're saying this because we know that it works, because that's what our being did. But we had to move him through it. You don't have to do that. That's how evolution works again. You each come in and you do something to give back to others so that your world does not have to suffer the way that it might have done many hundreds of years ago. But you're in this place now where you're stuck. And this is what we're saying, each of you. And our messenger has been stuck, which is why we had him do all of this last week, so that more of you would move ahead. And he has to move ahead because he has big things coming up. You all do. This is what we're saying. You all have that, but it takes a while for you to recognize it. And so then we had him do something else. On September 11th, there's going to be an interview that's going to be released where it's going to reveal what we have given him. And we're saying that because the problem that all of you have is not wanting to be revealed. You don't want to be seen. You don't want to look at yourselves. And this is why you don't do the work necessarily that would have you move through the limitations and restrictions that have held you back in your lives, that would not have you experiencing joy and happiness and love. And that's all that we want to see, because that is the energy that's going to shift your life and shift your world. As you see, we had him do a presentation where he went through history to show you how you keep discovering new things. You keep discovering that your emotions have an energetic quality to them, and your thoughts do as well. And the way that you use them is on yourself. And if you're using ones that are of the highest vibration for you in terms of your life path, then you're going to have this great life, and you're going to heal, and you're going to give that to others. But then you have a collective consciousness as well. And so what we have given you is something that's meant to uplift all of consciousness. And this is why it works for all of you, because it is cosmic consciousness of which you are all connected. You're all connected to source and to God, to whatever you think of in that great beyond, or all that is, you each are that. You're particles of it, let's say. And so we've given you that information so that you could see and understand what is occurring in your world now. See, some of you do not want to move into the new versions of yourself, and that's been the difficulty. And when you don't do that, you become depressed, you have lack, you have all sorts of other things, and then you're not making a contribution to the world. And so when you move through a big generational shift as you are in right now, you have a lot of resistance because you don't want to move there. So we gave you a message, and you'll see it in the thread of messages we gave you. We called it kicking and screaming because that's what you usually do. Just like a newborn, when you're about to go into this place that you don't understand, you just say, no, I'm not going to go there, and I'm going to just offer all this resistance. And that's your difficulty. And we're saying that to you individually, but we're also saying it to your world, because you're all the world. You each are that. The only difficulty you have is not understanding your importance, but that's a generational thing as well, meaning that you've been taught certain things by all of those who came before that would have you think you were not enough, that you weren't adequate in some way, and none of you were ever born that way. It's just different life paths that you have chosen. But then at certain periods in your world, there are things that move, and this is one of those periods. Now we're going to give you something else because we would love for you to look at this. You each have this path. Now, you don't always understand it as you're living it. And then this is why hindsight can be really valuable for you. We had our messenger write 3 songs back in 1987. We're saying that because many of you would know that that was another energetic shift that happened in your world. It's called the harmonic convergence, but not many would have known that, but you may have. And so if you've known that, that's when we had him do that, because it was the essence of all the information that we wanted to bring through. And those 3 songs, because we love using creativity, one was called Better Than Me. That's the first one, because that's what we want you to really know. You're no one is better than you. And you're not better than anyone else. And when you can come to that understanding, that's when you start to find your authentic self. And then you don't allow others to intimidate you and keep you small. That's all. And then we gave you another one called Listen to Your Heart, which means that you have intuition. And when you start tap into it, then you start to feel the guidance of what your life, this physical life you're living now, what it was meant to be. And then we gave you another one because we wanted you to understand the times that you would be living in now. And that one was called that was called Help the World to Mend. Help the World to Mend. And that was a wonderful one because that's where you are now. See, because the way that you do that is by becoming happy, is by healing yourself. It's the things that are happening now in your world can be completely changed, which we've told you before, through your energy. You don't have to go into any of those other places where you're seeing distress or famine or wars or any of that. You don't have to go anywhere to fix that. All you have to do is stay where you are and love yourself. That's the most powerful thing that you can do, but it's also one of the last things that you attempt to do because you're looking for everything outside of yourself. And so this is why when we said we gave you this new philosophy called your life operating instructions, and we gave you a program called your last development program, it's because it was for this evolution of consciousness at your time on your planet at this time. And it's really powerful for you. So then we gave you something else because you're going to move through these changes where you're going to have maybe a little disagreements with others. We're going to have all of those things that come up, but that's purposeful. On this date in 2023, we said it'll be easier to receive now because you've gone through enough in your lives, all of you, in different ways. You've moved through enough. And so we want you to shift your perception so you can start to receive. And that's why we gave you the message that we gave you today that's on the site. And so it is that time for you to receive, and you receive of whatever nature. It doesn't matter what it is. Again, you make that up, but it's about for you to feel fulfilled, and you feel like your full self, and you feel like you have everything. And that's what we've given you. So what we're going to do when we have the video done, we're going to have those messages on there because we want you to see them all. Because what you move your brain at times over increments. That's what so that's why we give you things in these little portions, because then you can accept it and accumulate it into your body. We're saying this because many of you have been judging yourselves for what you haven't done. Our messenger has done that, and we talked about that's the guilt. But you can't. That's not going to be helpful right now. What's going to be more helpful is for you to move. It's for you to just take the next step on your journey, and it's different for each of you, except you have it. And we know that because we felt when you stop. We felt when you get a little afraid. When we first began doing these sessions more than 3 years ago, we said that we're doing them because we wanted to help you move beyond your fear and doubt. And we've been doing that for years. We even had our messenger write a book on fear because that is the thing that holds you back. But the fear is just of yourself. That's all. It's just of who you could become because it doesn't feel like you could do it, and you can. Well, he gave you another message that we said, you have these grandiose ideas that might change the world, and you thought that, and you said at the same time, that's ridiculous. And we're saying it's not. That's who you are. You are that powerful. And again, we're going to say there's no one more powerful than another, but this is what you're all collectively attempting to figure out at this time. And the United States is leading the way because many years ago, as the planets changed, they decided that they were going to create a world that said, everything for all. And that hasn't happened in your life or in the world. So you exist to bring that together. And it's happening everywhere. The United States is just a focal point, and because that happens in different parts of your civilization where certain countries are the bigger influence, and that has been the case for them. But it's all related to, which is why we explain the science of it all. It's all related to the movements of your planets in the galaxies. You are affected by that in your soul because it is your DNA. And so the energy moves you in different ways that has you remember things. You're having memories come up that sometimes you don't understand what they are. Some of them are really difficult to move through, but that's why we gave you a plan. We have you walk through every aspect of that. Now, the only thing that we haven't done is gotten our messenger to move like we want you to do. And so that's what we're doing now. And we're going to say this because he's completely transparent, which becomes uncomfortable at times. But he's sitting there the other day and listening to someone saying, I don't understand what's happened. I've done so many things in my life, but this work has caused me to move so much quicker. That's how it's supposed to work for all of you. You're supposed to evolve quicker, and you're accelerating now, which is why we've given you that work. But then a messenger had to admit, well, you've only had a portion of it. He's been receiving our work for 35 years. He has so much to give you all, and he hasn't finished, just as you haven't finished. And that's why we're saying you're all stuck. Because if you hadn't been stuck, your world would look very different right now. You wouldn't have any of the mess going on, so to speak, as you see it. But you are the ones who are here to bring that through. And we're so glad you are. And when you start to see everything we have given you, there will be no more questions about what you can accomplish. You see, because you just keep doubting yourself. Our messenger did that too. We want to talk about this because he doesn't do it often, but he has healed everything physically, and he's had everything going on throughout his entire life. And he's 73 now. And it is all through the work that he received from us. We want you to understand the power of your mind. And that's what years ago he was telling you that he had the most valuable thing that you could use, and that is is the control of your thoughts and your mind and your consciousness. Now, that's the only thing that gives any of you difficulty. And so, as he saw all of this, and then he started checking yesterday because he had to see, wait a minute, I don't have cluster headaches anymore. And the doctors and the medical professional said there's no cure, except we gave him a cure. And he doesn't have any backaches and he doesn't have any physical pains anymore because we gave him a cure. You all have the cure. All we do is just awaken it within you. Now, we're not saying that's going to be for all of you because you might have, you have a different evolutionary path, but we're just saying that any human can accomplish this. You can accomplish that mind body healing when you become attached to who you are, your authentic self. That's how it works. And that's why we have demonstrated it. And we're going to have him speak so much more about that. But what we want to do today, we're using a little different format. We have a new system, but we're going to get your questions because we love that you're all here. And so as we begin answering questions for some of you, it'll answer questions for more of you. And that's what we really wanted you to understand. And so, Yara, are you able to start that or ask the questions or get the question and answer happening?
So we will figure it all out
Okay.
as we go. How about you just like go and type in questions in the chat box as I am not the host. We just keep it simple.
Mhm.
And you will type the questions that you have, please, now into the chat so we can start discussing the various topics.
Great. And as they're doing that, we want to give you a couple of other things. We gave you another message that said your future. You're creating it. You're creating the future of your life now, and you're creating the future of your world. We gave you that message on December 31st of 2012 because you typically look at things that you're creating or putting into your consciousness during certain times. Now, we're saying that we began giving you all of this in 2012, but we've been giving it to you for years. It's just that 2012 was a big movement in your world energetically. That's because many of you thought that the Mayan calendar, that everything was going to end. And we said, no, you're creating something new. And we were giving you the work, the ability to create the new lives that you could have now so that you can contribute to ushering in the new world that you all want to see. That is what is occurring. And so you will see that message as well. And then we gave you another message on the 11th of September because that's when our messengers video will be released. Nothing's accidental. We have planned this all, and you'll see this when you see the messages. We've planned we've planned what was happening because of the energy that we could read at that time. Now, it can always change because you have free will. But at that moment, when we gave you the messages, we were saying this is what was the trajectory of your world now, but you have the
Yes.
ability to change everything.
So what we're doing now is, as I think the participants can't type into the chat because it's a new format. If you're able to make me host real quick or co-host, that'd be
Mhm.
great. Then we're doing it this way, just getting Roger out of the trance. So,
Okay.
and then the people are able, or like I am able to do more stuff. So whilst Roger keeps talking, right? Like just tune in. I tune in right now. I want to talk about relationships, Roger.
Mhm.
I've been on an event on the weekend and I've been learning about the physical and spiritual connection of things, like how we are all interconnected with each other. And it's very interesting how to see people moving
Mhm.
when there is a stronger energy coming, or like an energy that they cannot hold, accept, or be with,
Mhm.
right? So can you talk about this a little bit?
Yes, we gave you a message tomorrow, actually, and we gave it to you years ago, but we called it family dynamic. And what we wanted to say about that is that you're all placed into situations with, and you look at them mainly in your family, but it's all of your relationships. And all of those relationships are designed to become to you to help you awaken to something within you. So it'll be different for each of you. But at this particular time, you might be finding that you're having these discordant relationships with many others, but that's because you're trying to create something new within you and you have to break through the old stuff. So we don't want you to fear the uncomfortable inevitable interactions and relationships that might come to you, we want you to embrace them and ask new questions. What am I trying to gain here? How is this helping me come to love myself a bit more? And there will be a choice that you will make. You'll say, oh, this is the relationship I'm going to go with because it feels good. And that's what we want you all to do, because that's the energy of love again. Or you'll say, well, this isn't where I'm going because I have a different life path. And then you give yourself more empowerment when you make that choice. So we just want you to be aware that you have the ability to make those choices, and your relationships, whatever they might be, whatever form they are, will start to come about. We said that many of you will be finding your soul family during this time, because that's the kind of division that you think is happening, even though it's not a division, but it's just a way for you to come to ask new questions about yourself, because this is your life journey. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. It's very deep, and we just continue that conversation as I can't get any people into the chat, I think. Although you can type in the chat, guys. So if you want to take in part in the conversation, please do, and we keep it flowing freely this time, and we keep improvising. So for me, it was always a struggle, Wilhelm, to kind of find my place and not be distracted by the means of others and what they do, what they want, and to kind of find my own rhythm.
Mm-hmm. That is for all of you. And this is exactly why we've given it to you, because you are meant to find your autonomy now. That's what this period is about. And autonomy means that you come to understand the power and ability you hold within that's not dependent on anything outside of you. Our messenger had to move through so much of this, and he never trusted it, which is why he couldn't talk about it, that many of you don't. You don't talk about who you are because it's been just ingrained within you. And so this particular period in your world, as the everything is changing, is giving you the opportunity now to own who you are, which is a wonderful time, which is why we said that self-acceptance does lead to abundance, because that's the way that it works. It's this energetic alignment with your path, and everything now, especially during this period and through the rest of this year, actually, is going to help you accomplish that, which is why we've given you everything to do that. So,
All right, thank you. We have a hand raised. Barry is coming to the stage now. You're allowed to talk now, Barry.
Hi, thank you. I was
You're
wondering, when it comes to ancestral trauma, ancestral wounds, how
mhm.
do we heal those?
Uncomfortably. They will feel like a restriction. They will feel like a judgment. They will feel like something that's telling you something's wrong with you, and that's never the case. However, as you exist, we're going to do this. Thank you so much for that, because we're going to give you all of this. Imagine and we've given you some stories about this. You're an eternal spiritual being. And so you come into the world at a certain time. You said, I'm going to live this because I didn't uncover this part of my life in this. I didn't uncover this part of who I'm meant to be. And this is all connected to your ancestors, because you continue them. This is why we said this time what's happening is we gave you a message. We're going to say this because you'll see it. It's on October 19th, and that's when our messenger will be doing a global talk as well, but we gave it to him then. But we said your pain might be old. You see, your pain might be old because you're feeling things that are preventing you from moving ahead, but that's because you have this generational trauma that's embedded, but you unleash that when you just make the conscious choice of changing your consciousness and your perception to accept who you're meant to be now. And we gave you another one. We're going to say this, Barry, because this is so perfect for you. We gave our messenger, it's going to be this year actually, because he's in the United States and they're having that election. We said that they're going to have so much that's coming up. So we gave you a message on November 5th, which is when that is. And we said that's also his father's birthday. And so he's saying, oh, wait a minute, I have to make sure that I'm going to do something great now because it's my father's birthday, who's been gone for a long time. But let me honor him. And the way I'm going to honor him is by doing more than he could do. And that's what you're doing, Barry, because you'll start to remember some of those people. You'll start to see the visions of them that were in your life that you see they couldn't do certain things. They couldn't accomplish something, and you're going to do it now. And that's what you were given, and that's your individual life path.
Thank you.
all right. Thank you, Barry. And we mute you, and we allow Irvine to return. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Willem, for all the beautiful energy you put into the world through Roger. My question is around spiritual awareness. I've lived a spiritually aware life since a fairly young age. I'm asking today, how do we navigate disappointment when we feel we're at the cusp of a breakthrough, but then it doesn't happen? We're trying to navigate patience, but sometimes it's difficult. Thank you so much.
We've answered it. We're so glad you asked that because we gave it to you. We said practice patience and persistence, and you'll see it in the messages that we put up there because you're never done with this, by the way. And so we love the fact that you acknowledge that because many of you think, I've been practicing my spiritual stuff for so long and I should have been there. You're never there because there's always more, you see. And so when you meet that disappointment, that is just an awakening to you. They're saying, oh, wait a minute, I wasn't quite there yet, and so I'm going to do it now. We've given you many stories. Our messenger has been working on this for years to get to this place now where he could bring it forth. And so you are in this wonderful place now where you can acknowledge all of this. And so we want you to embrace the disappointment. And we gave you, this is a long time ago, but he had something that happened where he was working on everything and then it was just wiped out. It was just gone. And so we said that was perfect because you weren't ready yet. And so now you can start again. We've given you many of those about starting again. And so that's where you are because you have this awareness that, wait a minute, I'm meeting a disappointment here. And we're saying to you, that means you're going to dig a little bit deeper now within yourself. That's all, the only place it is. And you're going to say, okay, now I can take that next step. And this is going to help me help those others that I'm working with, because that's what you're doing. And we can feel that.
Yes, thank you so much. There's so much value in that. And is there any period of time that I should look at through your messages because I'm fairly new to you, that would be of most value to me?
It will be, well, first of all, it would be the ones that we put in this particular video. You'll see those. But also, we would like for you to go back to You Could Not Have Known Your Importance. That was 2 days ago. And it's on the site, Any Advice for Today. And what we had him do is put several messages there. And if you follow the thread of them, you will see that over time, you start to become more and more aware. It's a growing awareness over time as you read them. And that's what we would love for you to see.
Thank you very, very much. Deeply, deeply
Thank you.
grateful for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's beautiful. So, thank you, Paveen. Now we have Maomi. You're allowed to talk.
Thank you so much. Hi, Wilhelm. Thank you so much. I have a question. I born in Japan and I live in USA and Hawaii now. And I'm learning about many differences between the culture. But sorry, I studied a little bit, have a concern about Japan because they will have new vaccinations is coming up. And then it seems like a really the worst one. It's affect everybody, even if they come to the different places. Japanese vaccination people, if come to the different places, it affect everywhere else. And those situations also sorry.
No. We're not getting it clearly. We're going to get more of it though. But what we're feeling is this. Okay,
Yes.
you're being presented with some difficult situations within the family. Is that correct?
No, I'm sorry. I'm concerning about the country I born, Japan.
Oh, the
They
country.
will have a new, yes, they will have a new
Yes.
vaccination is coming up. And then that's the
Okay.
probably affect, yes, thank you.
Okay, so let's give you that. Let's give you, okay, you're going to have to
Thank
find the
you.
highest place within yourself. Now, this is what happened. This is why we gave you the message that we did today about a more perfect union, because in 2020, it's when many of you were focused, especially in most parts of your world, you were focused on your pandemic. And we said that, well, you're going to use it in the way that's going to serve you. And so you're going to have to recognize the place where anyone is. Now, you can heal anything where you wouldn't need any kind of medications or vaccines or any of that stuff, but most of you have not reached that place. And so you're going to decide if it's going to be valuable for you to work with those to allow them to reach that place where they wouldn't need anything, or you teach it in some other way. but that's going to be something you'll have to decide. But then you're all going to have to come to the recognition, which is why we had our messenger put out, we had him write an entire article about this, where you looked at your plagues and things that have happened over centuries and centuries and centuries. And what you did was you started developing things over different times. So you wiped out certain diseases and illnesses, and you did that with vaccines. But not all of you want to use those. So you're going to have to decide what is best for you individually and what is best for the greater whole, for all that is. And that is going to be an individual and then a collective choice. Now, there was a wonderful thing that was going on during your pandemic where they talked about herd mentality, herd immunity. Okay, that means that you all will get to a certain place where you can have this general consensus of awareness. You're not there yet in your world, but you could get there if you decided to use your natural resources and then just find a way that you can give those to others, you see, because that's what we're feeling you want. You have this idea, you have this vision, and you've been given this gift to see that you can get beyond the Western medicine or all that stuff. And we know you can do that, but you're going to find the way that's going to work for you. If you want to take on the whole country, you can try, you can do that. But we want you to find the thing that's going to give you the most fulfillment in giving awareness and information and knowledge to others to help them heal. Does that make sense for you?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good, thanks. Thank you. So next we have, I've seen someone different before. Someone lowered their hand.
Mhm.
So we're moving forward with Gabrielle.
Mhm.
You're allowed to talk.
Hi, Wilhelm. So happy that you are doing this. I'm actually in the program, and I have one question about, I feel like I know a lot of things intellectually,
Yes.
and I am just trying to find more practical ways to integrate these lessons, this knowledge that I have.
Yes.
So do you have any practical ways I could do that?
Yes. First of all, you're perfect because this is what our messenger was moving through as well. And we gave you the message on February 19th of 1989. If you were to read that one, you would understand, because we told him that he has this intellectual knowledge of this power that he holds within that he could do something with, but he was afraid of it. And he was afraid of it because he was concerned that maybe he would use it in an ego-oriented way to the detriment of others. That made no sense, because that's never been who he is. So that means that there was some blockage there, generational, however it was, that was implanted within him that said, oh, I can't let go of who I am and bring this wonderful information to the world. You're the same person. And so, but we want you to just take time with it, because you're already moving to great heights, and you know that. We would love to hear what you have experienced in doing the work so far, because you've only done a portion of it.
Yeah, it's been a lot. I've moved through a lot of self-judgment and just awareness of the value that I actually do have.
Mm-hmm. And so that's going to be your process, and that's what's going to help you with everything that you're going to do moving forward, because that's what you accepted. And so we don't want you to think that because you didn't understand it or didn't get there, or you have the intellectual knowledge. A lot of times for many of you, just like with our messenger, that was the most difficult time, or challenging time. And many of you who are intuitive have that difficulty as well, because you're feeling things from a different place that you can't put in tangible form, so it holds you back a bit. We don't want you to judge that. We just want you to start to embrace it. And so every single day you're going to embrace more of it, but you've already done that. And you're seeing the process. And once you start to understand that process, which is what we've given you all today in the work, you'll see this, you start to you relax a lot more, and you'll just go with it, because you'll understand that every day there is more. Every day there's more that you will understand and accept. And we gave you a message. We'll have to put more of these out, because we're going to have them do all of it. But we gave you one that said the more you know, the less you understand. And what we meant by that is that sometimes you will think that you know certain things, and then you block out the more information that's coming, you see, because you're never done. You're just always evolving to higher states of being and consciousness. So that's what we love for you.
All right. That's it, Gabriel. All good?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Good stuff. So Next one is Naomi. Before that, I'm going to share something as well, which is related to it, because like we kind of have to find the peace within us. We are bombarded with so much information and we're developing so fast and we're downloading new information and sometimes even information from the future. So we are not always to apply the knowledge right away because our system isn't there yet. Right? We have the information, but we're not there yet. So that means we have to move on. We have to live our life. We have to have joy, fun, and look that we see the creation of ourselves in a joyful way, right? Looking at ourselves, enjoying life and creating a daily routine that is suitable for yourself, right? And finding your value and taking a step back, being by yourself, reflecting, writing, right? And then like you see, when you take a step back, life moves forward. Like, and then things start coming to you when you least expect them.
Okay,
So
thank you. We're going to explain more at that. Thank you so much for saying that, because we're going to go back to the earlier questions about patience, and we're going to explain, because we gave you this years ago. Practice patience and persistence. We want all of you to understand this, because when you're not experiencing the life that you want, you've been practicing something not in quite the way you want to. And what we mean that we're practicing your thoughts and your actions, your deeds, and that's not serving you. So we want you to practice something new, and then we want you to be persistent. We want you to be patient with that, because what happens when you start moving in that line, you will uncover things about yourself that will have you start to judge yourself. I should have known that. I should have done that. That's not helpful. So that's why we just want you to be patient, because then as you stay persistent, more and more information just keeps coming through, and then you start to trust the entire process, and then you won't get upset with yourself when you discover another hard place in your life. You said, okay, great, now I can work through this one as well, because I've developed the skills to do that. Okay.
awesome. Thank you. Next one, Naomi.
Sorry, that was a mistake. I was going to lower my hand. Sorry about that.
So you don't next one. Barely as raised.
Okay, thank you. I wondered how, do you have any practical directions as to how we may better connect with or channel our own version of Wilhelm or our higher self?
Oh, you're doing it already. You are doing it. You just haven't connected to it in a certain way, because what you've started to do is you've started to write a bit. And as you're in that process, you started to access information that was before not available to you in a certain way. That's your higher self speaking to you right there. Now, you may not have interpreted it that way, but that's what was causing you to write things about your life, about who you are, all of that. That was your higher self guiding you to do that. As you become more comfortable with that process, then what you can do is you can say, okay, now I'm just going to start asking questions. Just in that sense, you can start, because that's how our messenger started. Well, he was asking very specific questions, and that was a way for him to go, and then he would sit and listen for the answers. You have the ability now to begin doing that. And then we had him, after he did that, we said, okay, now we want you to let go and trust a little bit more, and let us give you the answers, because you're focusing on things that you want to deal with in this life right now, but that may not be your greater picture. And so then as he let go of that, he started receiving greater information. So you are already in that process now. You're already beginning to do this, but we just want you to trust that other thing that keeps coming through as you're writing, because we know that you felt it at times. And it's just communication. It feels like it's very personal to you. And that's exactly what it is. And that is that higher self. And at some point, you may give it a name. You may do something else with it, but it's not necessary. You're already starting to access it. We just want you to trust it and keep going with it. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. I try even more with meditation as well for many days, but it doesn't seem like I'm connecting quite yet as directly as
Yes,
you
because
present.
yes, because you're trying. We don't want you to do that. Just let it go. See, that's what our messenger was doing too in the very beginning. He was trying it because he read how to do this, and he said, "We just said, just let go." And then we just let go of that, and then just did the meditation every day. It went on for a few days. Then that's when we started coming through. Do you see? So don't try. Just allow. That's and we keep using that. We've given you, we gave you something else on that within this message that we gave you the other day. But we want you to just allow it to come to you. But you're in a great place. Just trust it. You're moving in the right direction.
Thank you.
Yes, and very like it's and everyone else is what you see in others that you like, that you admire, like their way of being, how they talk, how calm they are, how they're handling things. That's exactly the quality that you have as well. This is why you see it, because it's within you as well. So like you can kind of tune into the frequency that you're in, like listening to Roger, listening to me right now, and you can kind of sense what we're doing and you are aware of it. And then you tune into that frequency and you intend to take it in and you just be with it. Like there's nothing that you have actually to do. And this is the hardest thing, like the letting go of the egoic control, but being in the control of the all, right? Of that incredible energy that I cannot describe. That is so much, that is so full of love and wisdom, and it's all united. So I hope that helps.
Thank
So
you.
next one, you're welcome. Erica.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I was wondering, you once confirmed to me that I was astral traveling,
Mhm.
and I want to know what was the benefit of this, and should I be focusing on it to learn more, or just let it happen, unfold?
Yes, just let it happen. So what you were doing that your higher self said they wanted to get you out of this 3D mind that you've been focused on. And so when you can ask, not everyone would do this, but when you can do that, that means that you wanted to get outside of this limited consciousness that you've been living in. And again, we know that that's generational because you haven't been allowed to express this aspect of yourself. And so you needed to go to a greater dimension, which many of you have done. Some of you do it with different things. You might do plant medicine or something else to get out of this existence that you've been in, and then also that you've been held back because of those generational beliefs. So that for you was really purposeful. Now we would say that we don't know that you need to go and try to do that. We would say allow it if it's going to come about. You may have already accomplished what you needed to because if you did it a little bit and saw something that you were comfortable with, then just allow that to be, and whatever else comes, you might go to other dimensions, you might start seeing other things, and that would be helpful for your journey, you see. So just again, just begin to trust it and go with it.
Okay, thank you.
Easy. So next one we have, I hope I say your name right, I had French in school, Brionnet. You'll tell me if I was right. You can talk. I ask you to unmute. You may see it in on your screen. All right. We can't get her on here right now. So if anyone else, Perveen, yes.
Hello, thank you. It's Praveen again. Thank you so much. I had a question around star seeds. Often, we hear things about, oh, you're from Sirius, you're from Pleiadian. I feel like I connect with Pleiadians. In fact, my name
Yes.
in some language means this, if you can confirm that.
Yes.
And also, I had a healing session with somebody, it must have been a couple of years ago, where I felt a very angel presence during
Yes.
the night. And is this something I should explore more? And do
Yes.
we need to know which star seeds we are?
No.
Do we we don't need to know. Okay. So
No,
any
no, but you made the best one though. When you said Palladian, that means that you're just connected to this particular period that your world is moving through. They've been around forever. And so we told our being, we just want you to have all of them. So we didn't want him to make distinctions. And so, but for you, but just you will have the recognition of certain ones. And Palladian just means that is perfect for you because this is about remembering true essence of all souls, you see, and that's what you're connected to. So that's wonderful. And if you get more direct information, that'd be fine. But just that in itself is just saying that's where you are. And then the angel thing is so wonderful. We're glad that you got to say that now.
I'm so happy to be able to connect with you. Thank you.
But the angel thing, we just want you to embrace that because we gave you all of you a message, and we had our message to do something funny because I accepted my angel wings now. And so, because that's what we want all of you to do, because you do have them, you see, because you each come in to bring something of angelic quality in a different form, but it's all within you. So, and those of you who become courageous enough to own that, you become the true light workers and star seeds and all of that. And that's what's needed in your world, or wanted in your world right now. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. And if I may just end by saying that your energy is the most joyful channel that I have probably ever heard and experienced. So I thank you for coming through, and I thank you for being with us.
Oh, thank you so much. And this is what we had our being do, because we said too many of you have suffered. You've had lives and you've had trauma in generations. It's gone back forever. And so this time in your world, we wanted you to have more fun. We wanted you to have more love and more joy. And so we had to give you a being who's gone through all the tragedies, who's gone through all the difficulties and dark nights of the soul. He's had all of them. So to show you what is possible. And so because the more of you who do that, you're going to see a very different life that you're going to live, and then also a very different world that you're all going to manifest, because that is what you're doing now. And so we're grateful for all of you.
Yes, we are. So we're coming to an end. I will share another, or like we maybe try to get Brione after my share one more time back on. And if she can't, then we're ending the session. So with the Palladian, I just met someone and I've been very connected to the Palladian star cluster as well, or star system. And I have had lifetimes there, and I've remembered lifetimes with people I met in this life too. And it's a very loving, very soft energy. Like we are very much together, I feel, in that energy. It's a very beautiful feeling that comes with it. So I totally understand the connection to it. And with the angels and other beings, I mean, it's all within us. It's all us. It's another part, another aspect of us that we sometimes sense outside of ourselves. But if we, with angelic beings, if we raise our frequency high enough, they can enter our being, and then we work together and as one, right? Like they can work through us, basically. This is the same as Roger and Wilhelm. Wilhelm is working through Roger because Roger's frequency matches the frequency of Wilhelm. So yes. Brione, one more time, your last try.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, my apologies.
Easy.
Yeah, thank you so much, both of you, Roger and Wilhelm. I just had a question. I've been really working on clearing out a lot of those, ancient blocks of limitation and lack. And as I move more towards abundance, it seems more and more limitations keep coming up, more blocks keep coming up. And I'm not sure if I'm working through those things or just many things keep coming up, and I'm just curious as to what next steps I should take.
Just take the next step. You're in the right place. First of all, we've given you all of this. This is so perfect. This is a great one for us to talk about. You each will have different paths. And that path is part of your DNA, let's say your genetic code that you came in to move through. And sometimes they will take a while for you to move through them. It's taken a while for our messenger to move through them because he had so much that he took on. Do you see? None of you remember what you took on before you came, but it's always purposeful when you keep moving through it. And so now at this time, we will tell you this though, you're at the right place where you're going to move through bigger gaps now. You're going to, because the energies have shifted. We want you to understand the planets have moved and the energies now, and just recently, as a matter of fact, and then the next few days, you'll see that there'll be even more purposeful energy that's coming about. And so we also want you to read we're going to have all of you do this because we gave you a message last year on September 17th, which will be the next full moon here in your world. And so we want you to read that message and you will see it's going to answer what you're asking right now. You see, because you're moving into a place of more self-acceptance, it just takes time. But as you keep doing that, you will see barriers starting to break down and the abundance will come through. The reason we gave you this title today is that abundance and self-acceptance are intricately connected, you see, but you had a different path. You took on something big. We just want you to embrace that and feel and start giving yourself a little more congratulations rather than judgment that you haven't been there. Just, okay, I'm doing this and I'm going to keep going. I know it's opening up, and do that every single day. And then you're going to start to find other magical, it'll feel to you. We gave you a message about that. It's not magical at all, but it'll feel that way to you. These occurrences that will start to manifest just out of blue sometimes as you start to hold tight. And sometimes for many of you, it feels like you're being tested. And we know that it's how it feels to you. You are not being tested and you're not being punished. You just took on something that was a great role and you're going to keep figuring it out. And especially during this time, that's why we want you to keep moving. And now we're saying this, we want you to understand this. We've said we've been, our messenger has to be completely transparent. He knows that he hasn't finished what he was supposed to do. And so he's doing it now. And that's what you're doing. And so your power, your point of power is in the present. When you can let go of that, it didn't work before, and I'm sorry, and I'm not there yet, all that stuff, and just work in your now. And just in each moment, take some time every day and say, okay, what are you telling me I'm supposed to do now? How am I going to allow this to come? Just start asking new questions and be patient with yourself. And you're going to see you're going to start to move much quicker in your endeavor. And we're so pleased that you're going to do that because we can feel, again, that you've just taken on something that's going to be so helpful, not only for you, but for your planet. And that's what you have done.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. And really, I say one more time, I wanted to bring it across before. I hope I did. If not, I do now. That slowing down and asking the right questions in meditation, like not being distracted, not being every day with different kinds of people, listening to having different conversations about 100 topics the same day or every day. So like you kind of have to learn to structure your mind. You kind of gotta understand to organize your thoughts and talk about the things that are important to you and stop talking about the things that are not important to you. Stop hanging out with people who drain your energy and start hanging out with people who lift you up and watch podcasts. And like sometimes better than to go on a date where you feel disappointed, go and watch a podcast that serves you. So like there's like certain decisions you have to make for yourself in order for you to grow. And being alone sometimes is very beneficial to do that, to ask the right questions, as Roger said.
Okay,
So
great. Thank you. We're going to give you, are we done with, are the questions done now?
we have one more. Erica's coming soon, one more
Okay.
time, and then we're done. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Can you hear me?
So,
Yes.
Is becoming my authentic self synonymous, or is that the same thing as healing ancestral lineage?
Yes. It's all connected. Yes.
Okay.
That's your particular path. You all have it. Thank you for that, because that's exactly what we were going to talk about. That's exactly what it was. This is the timing could not be better. Yes, you each are moving through, and if you read the message that we gave you on so many of them, if you just do the one on October 19th, you will understand, because this is a generational change, as we've said. And so each of you are trying to find your own empowerment, your own autonomy, your own sense of self. That's going to be the most valuable thing you can do, because because that's the energy of love, you see. And so when you do that, you're moving through all the old generational stuff. You're helping your ancestors too, because you're doing things they could not before. That's why you're here. And so then you start to feel this wholeness. You start to feel this fulfillment, and that's what you're all on. And so we've given you an example, though, and this is why we're going to explain it to you. And as Yarni was saying, yes, you do something every single day. This is what we had our messenger do, but he was doing a different role. He was bringing in information. He was receiving cosmic guidance to bring into the world now for all of you to use to take it to the next level of who you're meant to become, so your world does the same thing. And so it was a process of him looking at every judgment, every horrible thing that he thought he did, everything, and figuring it out and letting go of it, and reframing his brain to be able to bring in this cosmic guidance, which gives you all a higher level of understanding and consciousness within your world that was needed at this time. And so the path is going to be the same for all of you, but it's going to be different. And what we mean by that, you have to move through the same thing, looking at the old limiting things that were there, being willing to do it. That's why, the shadow work or whatever, however you go about it, we have you just reframe things and look things in a new way. And that changes your brain, where you're using neuroscience to have you do that. And so then you get that and you start to have a greater sense of awareness, and then you do more. And the process keeps going. And then you start to understand, oh, I'm never done with this. And I get better and better all the time. And then I even get younger, because that's how it feels when you let go of all the weight that you've placed on yourself. And that is ascension, what you're all moving through. You're moving through it individually and you're moving through it collectively, which is why we said this restructuring is a planetary ascension. And that's what you're doing. But it only happens when you become your best self and love who you are. And that's all that we ever wanted. And we love you all so much. And thank you so much for being here. And we will get this to everyone when we have it all edited. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. We're done. So thank you for this amazing time. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And yeah, learn to feel. Allow the life force to flow through you, and you see how you are actually the one that is generating the life force yourself, which is that part of you, which is God, which is infinite, loving life force. So yeah, you have great potential, and we are amazing beings. So let's get it. It's a beautiful time on this earth, and let's share the love with the people that we love, right? With your friends, your family. Enjoy your time, and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Richard blessings, abundance, and wealth.
Merci.